Welcome to MacroCode. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing. So as you can see, this is our help desk management system. So we are going to proceed today. So I'm going to sign in to our application. So this is our dashboard for those who are watching us for the first time. And you can see we have the recent tickets. We have the number of, that is the ticket numbers, the title, the description, priority status, created by, created on, and the number of comments. You can also check on the comments. So on the sidebar, we have the recent tickets, we have the assigned tickets, we have the resolved tickets, and you can as well filter based on the users, the categories, the statuses, and even the priority. Then you have all the closed tickets. Then you have the ticket comments, as you can see here. So this gives you all the comments within the application. Then you have the ticket categories. So you can actually group your ticket categories or your tickets based on categories. Then you can also have the subcategories. So you can see these are all the subcategories. So when you're creating the ticket category, you can actually see even the subcategories on this other end. And when you're creating a new subcategory, you can even tie them to the category. So you can see here. So then we have also the audit trails. So the application gives us all the entries that is happening within the application. So you can be able to see that someone created something, or even there's a record that was deleted. So if you can see here, we have these old values, the new values, the affected columns, and even the person who did that particular update. Then you have the system users. So these are all the users within the application. You can create all the users. You assign them to the roles and even to the gender. Then you have the system codes. So these are all the options. Then you have the system code details. For example, in system codes, you can have something like gender. Then for the system code options, this is where now we are having the various options. For example, male and female. So you see male and female are actually for the system code called gender. So this gender is actually kind of grouping. Then for the particular options, then you have the system codes. Then you have the system roles. So you can create the role. So here you can create a new role within the application and you can save it. And you can see you have the various roles like HR officer, finance manager, software developer, system administrator, and you can now see the rights. So today we are going to complete some of the areas that we have been dealing with about system rights. Most of you guys have been asking us to do that, and we are going to complete it today on this particular video. So if you're new to this channel or you're watching our videos and you have not subscribed, then you are not doing us a very good thing. So ensure you subscribe, like the comment down below, and even you can share the video. So we have the departments here. So you can also create a new department within our application. You can also create the system tasks. So system tasks here are now something like the modules, sub-modules, or even the actions. And this is what you are going to use today to actually create our roles. Then you have the user profiles. So here we were actually adding the roles, assigning tasks to roles. So you can see these are the tasks and you are assigning them to roles. So this was a bit hectic, and that's why on our previous video we did something interesting. So for those who are watching this video for the first time, remember to follow the series. So we have the system settings, we have the password, the expiry, and even the resolution tickets days. So these are some of the system settings that you can actually configure them, then you reuse them across the application. We have the countries. So you can create a new country within the app, and you can as well tie them to cities. So you can see some of the cities that is tied to that particular country, and you can also see all the cities within the application. So let's begin this video. So today we are going to do something on rights. So on our previous video, we were actually able to create the rights section, and we were able to tie these to roles. So as you can see here, we have this particular section whereby you can actually select the kind of role that you want to assign them, and you can also select the kind of actions or even roles that you want them to access. So we are going to complete this because on our previous video we were not able to do that. So I want us to add some items on this particular page. So as you can see on this page, you can actually select all the items. Instead of doing one by one, you can click here and you select all the items, and you can as well select some of the modules instead of selecting everything. So that is what I want us to cover today. So if you go down here, I want us to add some scripts. So I want us to add some scripts here. So I'll just do that. Then I'll just do add section. So I want us to add some scripts here. Sorry. So I want us to do this. So I'm going to zoom these a bit so that you're able to see. So let me zoom in. So here we are going to add our scripts here. So we say type, so this JavaScript, then we can actually close it here. So inside this JavaScript, I want us to do some things here. So I want us to do on change. So I want us to do dot on change. So I'll just do on change. Then we'll just do here dot on. Then we say change. So this is so just do change. Then we say here comma. Then we say function. So function. So this is a function. Then you are going to have a function here. So what I want us to do is I want us to, whenever you change a role, then our application should refresh and give us the selected role rights. So this will be equals to, then I just do here, just do equals to dollar, then I do that, then you say dot current, you say current root URL, then you are going to say here dot attribute, then here you're going to do do that, this should be, then you say here href, then this one should be equals to, say plus, you do here dollar, then we say on change, so I'll just do here, then I say dot on change, then I say option, then I can do here selected, then you can have these as we do here dot value. So I want us, whenever you select a role, we should be able to, so you should be able to refresh our page. So if we close this, so then the next thing that I want us to do is I want us to go to the top here. So I'm trying to zoom in a bit so that you're able to see. So there is somewhere we added our roles. You see here, we added our role ID. So this is where we are selecting our role. So if you open our app, you'll realize that you have somewhere you select the role here. So if you select the role here, all the rights here should be for this particular role. So it should be able, whenever you select this particular role, the page should refresh and give us the correct rights for that particular role. So what we need to do here is I want us here to do something. So I want us to say here, so we say class, then we can assign our class down here. We say here current root URL. Then I want us to assign it here. Then I want us to say this is href, and you are going to say, so we are going to do here. So I want us to move to the refresh to the same page. So our page will be, this is our page. So it should take us to the rights, user profile. It should take us to the user profiles rights, then user rights, then slash ID of the role. So if we refresh, so what we need to do now is here on the select, we should add the on change. So this on change is part of what we've added here. So it will actually refresh and it will redirect our application. So let's just update our app and try to see what happens. So let's refresh. So whenever we select a role, our page should refresh and give us the correct rights. So let's just see. So I hope this is okay. Yes, so it's refreshing. So if you select, for example, like HR manager, you'll notice our app is refreshing. So if we select another one, You see, it is actually refreshing. So it should actually give us the rights based on the role that we've selected. So another thing is we need to ensure that whenever we select the role here, it should not kind of lose it. So if we go to the controllers, user profiles, then we go to user rights here. We should always ensure that we pass here the ID. So we say here ID. So that is the ID for that particular role. So if it's selected, then we should ensure that it is selected. So if you're new to this channel and you're watching our videos and you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing, like our video, comment down below, and we are going to ensure that we have actually handled all the rights issues within this particular video. So we are going to create now, assign the rights and actually save them to the database. So I think there is an error somewhere. Let's just check what is it. So we have, yes, so we need to close our tag here. So let's just launch and try to see. So whenever we select a role from this particular selection, we should actually have that particular role selected. It should not lose the item that we have selected. So every time we select it, it should also give us the rights that has been assigned to that particular role. So from that particular point, you should be able to see all the rights that has been assigned to that particular role, and you can actually change them. So let me just sign in. So if we go to the user profiles, so let's just go to the roles, system roles. And if I go to assign rights, then you'll be able to see that we have the HR officer already selected. So if we just select to finance manager, you'll notice that our finance manager is there and our page has refreshed. Also, everything is already selected. So since we have that, so the next thing that I want us to do is we should ensure that we can actually select all the rights for this particular role. So if I just click here, then all these particular areas should also be selected. So how do we do that? So I want us to go back to our app. Let's just go back here. So let's just go back here. So let's just go here. Then, so here, I want us to do, let's just do that. Then we say here, we say input, so input.parent. Then we say input.grandparent. So I'm sure we have this grandparent here. So let's just check. Yes. So this is all the modules. So this is where we have all the modules. Then we have so this is actually the input. Then we have the children as well. So we do input dot child. So let's just check if we have anything child. Yeah, so we have our children here. So whenever you select the parent, you should actually select even all the grandchildren. So that's what we wanted. So here then you say change. So you sorry. So I need to return it. So here if we do change, then I can say here function, then this is our function, then here we can do that. Then we say here, so this, so I'll just do here this, so this, then you can say dot siblings, then you can say dot find, so I'll do dot find, then you can say here we want the input, so you want the input, then we say type, so this should be square brackets, so here we do that, then we say type, then we say equals to, say checkbox, so we say checkbox, so here we say checkbox, then we do that. So we have our type, then so this should be double quotes, then we say here also double quotes. Then here if we say that, then here we can do prop, then we can say checked. So I'll just do single quotes, then you can say checked. Then you can have these here as a comma, then you say this dot, you say checked. So you say this dot checked, then I'm going to close it there. So I want us, whenever we select the grandparent, we now have our child also. So here we need to close it, and you can do that. You can do that. So this is how it looks like. So we have our input parent, then comma, input grandparent, then comma, input child, then you say dot change function, then we open brackets. So this should be that way. So this should be change function, yeah. Then here we say this dot siblings dot find input type checkbox prop, then you say checked, this checked, then we close it here. So this should be actually closed that way. So let's try and see. So if we update our app, we should be able, whenever we click checked, we should be able to click and have everything checked. So you can see this is all our items. So if I click on the parent, you notice that it is actually selecting everything. So if I click everything as well, it is unchecked. So I can check everything. So if, for example, if I select security officer, I can check it and all is selected. Then I can also come maybe and remove some of the items that I don't want. And you can see if you select the parent, for example, if I select tickets here, tickets has some children called create, view, and delete. So if I select parent, which is ticket, it selects everything below it. But I can also remove items within the ticket. So I can remove the delete also within the ticket. But I can also do the same. I go and click on the parents. And in case I want to remove everything, I can also do that. And I can return everything. So since that is done, I think we are now in a good position. So the next thing that I want us to do is, you see these rights, all these rights that we have, we should actually store them somewhere on our database. And where do we store them? So we have our table that we created called user role profiles. So if you come to this particular table, you'll notice that this table has a role ID and the task ID. So this is where we are storing the role and the task. So these are actually tasks. So you see all these ones are actually tasks, and we created them from here, from this particular section. So if you're new to this channel and you have not been following, so you will need to watch some of the previous videos. So you see all these tasks. So you can actually create a task, and a task can be a main module or even a sub module or even an action like creating, deleting, and even adding. So all these are tasks. Then we have now the roles. So all these, so we are tying the role to the tasks. So we are tying the role to the task. So in our database, we should be able to save the role and the task. And one task, one role can have many tasks. That you can see, for example, like this role, it is actually the same ID. So it is using the same ID, but it has different tasks. That means one role can have many rights, can have many tasks, or can have many actions to do within the application. So I'm going to remove some of the data here. So we are not doing a one-to-one mapping, but you can actually have one role doing many things. So we have removed that. So we don't have any roles. So what I want us to do now, I want us, whenever we select this one, we should now be able to assign all these roles to a particular, all these tasks to a particular role here. For example, the ICT officer. So you can select it and save. So, but we don't have the save button. So let's just add the save button. So I'll come here on our action, just within the form. Then I'm going to add our, so let me just do div class row. So let me do class, then we do row, then here, then I'll do div class, then I'll also have here, I'll do here call md12. Then I can also close this here. Then I can have here, let me do button. Then I can say type. Then I can say here submit. Then here I can have a class. So you can say btn. You can say here success. And you can actually pull this to the right. So I say pull. You can say, let me just check, success. Then you say pull. So you can pull this to the right. Then you then if we can close it. Then here I can say maybe save rights. So this will be our button. So if we click this button, you should now be able to save the rights. So if I update our app, our button should appear somewhere here. You see, we don't have the button. So if you see, we now have our button here called save rights. So this save rights should now submit this particular information to our database. So, but have we created the action? So if you go back to our form here, we were saying we should be having our action should take us to the user rights post method. But do we have it? We don't. So let's just reuse this. We copy that one, and we are going to have it here. So what we need to do is remember the data that will be coming from our application here. It's actually a list of all these particular tasks. So we should now be able to save them and ensure that users are now accessing some of the areas that has been tied to them. For example, if you have not been given access to tickets, then you should not be able to access tickets. And that is what we are going to do. So what I want us to do now is I want us to create a section where we are going to save that. So this one, our rights here, we are going to provide. So when we are saving user rights, it is giving us the profile view model. So that is what we are expecting here. So this you are saying VM. Then the next thing that I want us to do now here is I want us to, let's just do away with this. So this is our action, and this one we are going to do HTTP post, I mean. Then here we are saying, so here we say try, then can just catch, then we say here, sorry, let me zoom in so that you're able to see. So here we are going to say catch, then we say X, then here. So do here exception, then we say X. Then inside here, I want us to save our tasks. So I want us to do for each, so variable task ID, say task ID in. So I say here VM dot. So I want us to know our array here on our user rights, which is giving us the list of tasks. So if you come and see, you'll notice that we have been assigning our input to IDs. You see these IDs. So this is the one we are going to loop. And these are the IDs that have the task IDs. So here we are going to say dot IDs, task rights assign IDs. You see this? So if we go back here to our view model, what we need to know, you see these rights IDs. So actually we should have assigned something here, the value. So let's just check the value. So you see these rights assign ID, the value here should be this way. So our rights assign ID is actually a collection. So let's just check. Yeah, so let me check. So here our rights assign IDs. If you go to our user rights, you see these IDs. We should be having them actually on our profile here. So we should actually say here. So I want us to declare them here. We say public. We should be actually having, should actually be having an array of this. So we'll say public, then we say here int, then this is an array of integers, and we should give it the same name. Then we just say get, then set. So, and we can, let's just leave it as it is. So these IDs is actually what we have here. You see these IDs? So we have these, so all these IDs is actually an array, and we should be having them on our view model here. That means whenever we are saving them, we should actually now be looping our IDs here. So if we loop the IDs, then we'll be having we should be having all the tasks that has been selected by the user who is assigning the rights. So once all these IDs has been assigned, then we should now be able to save them to our database, and we should ensure that we can now access the application based on those particular rights that has been assigned to the user. So the next thing that I want us to do is, I want us to come here, and I want us to do, we say variable, we say right profile, we say equals to new, say user profile. So this is our model. So this is our model, and this particular model has some two things. So it has the task ID. This task ID is what we have received here, is what we are now looping. Then the next thing that we have is the role ID. The role ID is the particular role that had been selected by the user. But also remember, we have the created by and created on. So we say created on, this is the date and time. So we just do date, time. Then we do here now. So let me zoom in so that you can see. Then you also have created by. So you know how we had provided our user. So we just do user dot get user ID. So this will give us the user who is already logged in. And here you can see we now have this particular information. So all this information is what we need on our database. So if we just select here, we just select star from user profile roles, you'll notice that we have the task ID, role ID created on, and created by, modified by, and modified on. For now, we are creating them. So we don't need anything like modification. So once this is done, you know, the next thing is to actually, so I'll just close it that way. Do we even need this? We don't need this. So I'll do that. Then here, the next thing is to just do db context. Then we say roles, profiles. Then we can say here add. So we can say dot add. Then we add this particular right profile here. So if we just add this here, then we are good. So the next thing is we need now to save. So here I'll want it to loop through. So you see, I'm not saving everything. So I want it to loop through adding. Then after adding, we can now await here and save the changes. So I'll just do context. Then I do save changes async. And remember, when we are saving the changes async, we are usually used to we now need to pass the user ID who is logged in, and we need to do that here. So if we do this, then our application will save those particular information, and we can even pass the message that our user ID has been created. Remember how we have been doing on our tickets? When we are creating tickets, this is the message. So we can copy that and reuse it here. So after saving, we can say role rights assigned successfully. So if we just remove this, sorry, we just remove that. So you say here all rights assigned successfully. But in case there is an error, we can always do this, and you can have this, say here, error. Then you say there was an issue assigning rights. So you say here there was an issue assigning rights to the so there was an issue assigning rights to the role. So after doing that, then this is okay, then this is okay. Then we can actually say here, we can copy this error and paste, we can do here dot message, so that we get that, then we can get the error, then we can do that. So once we have this, the next thing is we can return the view. So that's cool. So I want us to ensure that the role that we've selected here, so I want us to ensure that here we are actually assigning the role ID here. So we'll say role ID equals to ID, so that we don't miss it. So once we are done with that, so let's just assign the roles, and I want us to have let's just have the breakpoint here. So I'm going to launch the app and see how this works. So if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing, like our video, and even comment down below. So I want you to share the video, and in case you need the source code, you can claim the source code using the link down below. You can also share, and you can even buy us coffee in case you feel we are actually making some difference on actually sharing some of these important information to you guys. So if you buy us coffee, then it goes a long way in ensuring that you support our channel and also keep us motivated in posting more of these videos. So let's just sign into our application and try to see what we need to do. So I'm going to sign in. Then we should now save some of these changes to the application. So let's just do that. So if we go to system rights, system roles, then click on assign rights. So you see, we have all these rights, so we don't have anything here. So if I select and click save, you see it has taken us to the breakpoint. So we have our breakpoint there. And if I hover, I should have two things. I should have all the rights assigned. And you can see here, these are the rights assigned based on what we have. But the IDs here are based on what has been selected. So you can see we have all the rights that are available in the system are 19. But we have only assigned 17 of them. Then you also have the role ID. This role ID is what these now the rights that is assigned to this particular role. So if we go and have our breakpoint here, you'll realize that our profile has been created, and it has the created by, created on, it has the role, and it has the task ID. So it is going to do that for all the 17 rights. Then we now have all the rights, and it is going to save. So if we proceed, then our application will be saved. But now we have an issue here. So it is actually asking us for the system tasks, which is actually nullable. So what we need to do, we need to come here. We need to come here, and you can actually copy this here. You can copy this, and you can have it down here. So if we have that, then it will take us back to the, so these will be vm dot role ID. So we change that to vm.role ID, and also this one to role ID, and this one to, I think we have this. So that is not the issue. So because of that error has not prevented us from saving. So if we go to the database, we should get our roles. So you can see we have 17 of them. So here we'll see that we have the same ID of the role. So you see the role ID is the same, but the only thing that is different is the task. So this role has been assigned various tasks. So these are multiple kind of rights. So this is now the multiple, and it is actually the same role. So if we try again, so let's try to save another one. So I'm going to remove this so that we experience at the second. So when we save for the second time, we don't get any error. So I want you to see something which I want us to address. So if we sign into the application, so let's just wait for our app to launch. So for those who are watching this channel and you have not subscribed, hit that particular button, subscribe, comment down below. So I'm going to sign in to our app. So let's just wait. So here, Then if we go to the dashboard under system roles, then go to assign rights. Then here I'll just go to ICT officer. So let me say software developer. Then I can select all the rights. So if I click save, it is going to hit our breakpoint and we should be having all our rights. So if I just let it to proceed, it should take us back and you can see we have our rights already saved. So if we go to our database here and select, so we'll just do select star. So if we do that, you'll notice that we have our role ID, which is the same ID across, then our tasks are different. So if we try again and save the same rights, so you can see here we need to address something here because we had actually checked and everything is not checked. So if I save everything again and save, so you see it is actually saving. So if we come to our database, you'll notice that our rights have been duplicated. You see, it is the same rights, but it has been duplicated here. So you see we have now more rights and it is the same rights, but it has been created multiple times. So we don't want this to happen. So we should ensure that the roles and the rights are unique based on the role and it should not be duplicated. So what do we need to do here? You can either update, you check if there is that particular task and assign to that role and update, or you can actually purge them. So what I can do, so let's just go back here. So before adding any role here, I'll just do underscore context, then I do dot user profiles role, then I say remove range. So if I just say remove range, then I say here underscore context dot. So for example, here, let me just say remove range. I can say remove range. So I want to get all, so let me just do here, variable all profiles. I'll say all profiles. Then I can say underscore context. Then you can do the role profiles, user role profiles. Then you say dot where. So we want to remove everything that is related to that particular role. So I'll just do x dot role ID because we are actually dealing based on a role. So I'll just do dot role ID. So this one will give us everything, and we can say here to list. So this will give us all the rights based on that particular role. Then I want us to say here now, remove everything related to that particular. Before adding anything, we can purge everything that we had assigned and we can create a new one. So let's just proceed and see what happened. So if you come here, you'll notice that we have around 34 rights, but it is for the same role, but the task has been duplicated. But we don't want the task to be duplicated. We want it to be unique based on the role. So let's just log in and try to see what will happen. So if you're new to this channel and you have not subscribed and up to this point and you're watching this video, consider subscribing, like our video, and even comment down below. You can also claim the source code or even buy us coffee, which goes a long way in ensuring that you support our channel. So if you go to user profiles, let's go to system roles. Then if you go to assign rights, I want us to select a software developer. Then you can see when you select, it is actually checked because some of the roles already exist. Some of the rights had been assigned to that particular role. So if I select another role like security officer, you'll notice that there is no any checkbox that has been checked. But if you select software developer, you'll notice that there are some rights that exist. So I'm going to assign everything. So if I click save, I should only have around 17 rights here and not 34. So if I select and do that, you'll notice that it is actually 17. So that means our rights are not being duplicated. For example, if I even select and save, you'll notice that we are not having any duplicates on the database anymore. So that is what should happen. So you should be able to do that. And if you go to the user profiles, you'll notice that we now have this particular role, software developer, and they have been assigned these particular rights. So here you can actually assign now one right to that particular role. You can assume you don't want to do many as we had. You can also do one-to-one here. But I think the other one is a bit more user-friendly. So if you come to user profiles now, you'll be able to see all those 17 entries, and you can see them here. Another thing, if you go to system, that is audit trails, you'll notice that we now have new 17 entries that has been added. I mean, we have, so let's just select our system audit trails. So if we check our audit trails, you'll notice that, let me just select. I'm sure there is a lot of data that has been selected there. So there we go. So if we go there, you'll notice we have, so if we select like, so we want a module like, for example, that is the user profile. So you see this is the user profile. And if we check on the details, you'll notice that there is a lot of entries that had been inserted on this particular. So we have been creating each of the role. So we've been able to add profiles now to our application based on a certain right. And that means now we can be able to tie this particular role to some of the areas in our application. So I'm going to leave it there for today. I'm sure the video is not complete, but we are going to do it on our next series so that we are now able to tie some of the areas to the roles that we've created in our database here. So we should now be able to see all these roles that are there on our user profiles that we've just inserted. We control the users on what they need to see based on what we have here. So if you're new to this channel and you are watching this video, or even for the returning subscribers and you like what you see, comment down below, subscribe, and let's meet on our next episode. Bye.